This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us be glad and rejoice in it. Good morning, my friends. We're getting ready for Thanksgiving Eve, Wednesday. And I want to talk about planning. Holiday planning. First of all, are you making a turkey? Please put that in there. Well, actually, let me back this up. My name is Vanessa. Welcome to my channel. I'm a Christian woman doing my best to put God first by following Jesus Christ, who is the truth and the way to everlasting life. And I like to do Get Ready With Me. I have several playlists as I have been on here for 5 years. If you are returning, thank you so much for supporting my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I will try my best to stay on a topic because I can be all over the place. So let's talk about holiday planning, specifically Thanksgiving, because tomorrow is Thanksgiving. So yes, in the comments, if you are making a turkey, or are you making just like a side dish, a dessert, and taking it somewhere, or are you hosting Thanksgiving at your house, or are you just having Thanksgiving for your own family? I would love to know in the comments. Thanksgiving is a family day for me. I don't know if I've ever had a Thanksgiving without family. And I'm going to be 46 years old next month. And I'm hopefully will be able to do what I have to do over here and talk at the same time. But I have everything in front of me, talking about preparation, so I don't forget any steps here. I would love one day to host Thanksgiving. I've never hosted it. I think I have the house space, but I don't have the parking space. I live in an HOA, and trying to get, of course, sounds like I'm just making excuses. But traditionally, Thanksgiving, what I remember, started with my great-grandmother. Everyone would get together at her house. She had the perfect location. It was a corner house, and across the street was completely empty. So people could park across the street as well. And when I was younger, y'all, it just seemed like my grandmother had such a big yard. But maybe her house was just really small. Okay, this is off subject, but my grandmother had her house, which had 3 bedrooms. They were the bedrooms that you have to get to one to get to the other. Well, 2 of the bedrooms were like that. It only had 1 bathroom. No, there was 2 bathrooms. The very last bedroom that was, you had to go through one bedroom to the other, had a bathroom. And she had a long room that was the kitchen, dining, and living room. There was a lot of space, now that I think about it. And I cannot remember if she had 2 or 3, but she had these little 1-bedroom or studio units that she would rent out. Someone has to have a picture. I would love to remember what it looked like. They were actual, you know, an actual small home, I guess you could call it. Had bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, all that good stuff. On her property, it had its own little gate to get into those. And the reason I cannot remember, it's still in my family. My cousin, she lives in it. But what happened is she had everything condemned. And they built her a new home, which takes up, and they built her a brick wall. I don't know how everything happened, but it just looks very different than when I was growing up. So it's hard for me to remember because it's just hard to remember. All right, y'all. Then when my great-grandmother, sometimes we would have it at my grandmother's house as well. And my grandmother's home is still in our family. Isn't that beautiful when someone can say they still have their childhood home or grandparents' home? So I remember my grandparents. I don't remember what their original home looked like because it did get burned and they had to rebuild. So I really don't remember what it looked like before. I would have been 5-ish, 4-ish, 3-ish, somewhere around there. Too young to remember. And what time is it? I'm over here yapping away like I have all the time. But remembering childhood memories, especially if it's good, doesn't it make you feel happy? One thing I really enjoyed about my grandparents' home, they have, like I said, it's still in our family. It still looks the same now. They have a beautiful fireplace. And a nice size yard. So there's plenty of room for us kids to be running around. And there's a lot of us grandkids. I mean, too many for me to count right now with you all. I would take too long. And then, so my grandmother passed like a year before my great-grandmother. Yeah, I think so. So then my mom said she would take on hosting Thanksgiving at the house where my brother now lives, because my parents moved a little later in life where my dad still lives at. And my parents had bought the property next to them. Well, the house and property. So there was plenty of room. Well, there was already plenty of room with just our current house that we had. But then they bought the next one. So together there's plenty of room for kids to play and have fun, etc. I need to hurry up over here, y'all. Okay. This is probably why I don't do these videos anymore, because I start chatting and lose track of time. So we would have Thanksgiving there for a long time until my parents moved to their next place, where they had a little over an acre of land. So this was a lot of room. And they made a little, like, I don't want to call it Wonderland theme park in their backyard with lots of a few swing sets, a tree house, basketball court, volleyball. Well, they would put the volleyball court up for family events. It wasn't up all the time. But there was always a basketball court, bikes and bikes for kids to ride, small, big. You know, it was like our old bikes or bikes my dad would find on the side of the road and he'd fix it. And lots of sitting areas, etc. It was beautiful. But as I've said before, all good things have to come to an end. So when my mom passed, my dad eventually, we did have Thanksgiving, I believe, one more time at my parents' house after my mom passed. But then the following year, or not, I cannot remember. But then the following year, my dad got a girlfriend that he's had forever, and she's a hoarder. And you can't fit probably a chair in their backyard that was so beautiful and green. And in the inside, there is hardly any empty spaces either. It is sad, y'all. It is so sad. All right, I need to hurry this up, like speed. I wanted to try something a little different today. Going into my nudes, I want to try this color, pair it with this glitter. Excuse me, it's not glitter, but you know what I mean. Pairing it with that shimmer. And then when my mother passed away 10 years ago, my brother started hosting it. But eventually, all my aunts and uncles just went on to do their own thing. So we no longer have a huge Thanksgiving like we used to. Maybe one day we will again. I don't know. That's why I would love to buy land, a house with land, and start hosting myself with plenty of parking, with plenty of room for kids to play. That would be my next dream. Never too old to dream, never too old to have a goal. All right. This was supposed to be about planning, and it turned all about my my Thanksgiving memories. So what I like to do is if I was the host, what I do is maybe a month before I get them a notebook that I will always be able to reference, you know, and add to it if needed. So I need to make sure there's plenty of pages, empty pages. I start writing down what foods to serve, who is coming, so that I have plenty of seating. Etc. And then I start looking for things that are on sale. Okay, if I want soda, I start looking to see where can I find them on sale. Are there coupons? And then maybe 2 nights before, start prepping what I can. Usually, actually, this is what I do. 2 nights before I start setting up my tables and chairs and all that. Then the night before, I'm doing the cooking, the prepping, if I just chop things up and then cook it the next day or whatever. And then wake up early the day of to get things all together. And I will, I don't know why I'm like this, but I will even put, like, say 7 o'clock. I create a little agenda. I'm going to bake apple pie, and then by 7:45 I will have pecan pie in the oven. I get to that level of detail, y'all. And then if I'm taking things somewhere, I also write my list together. If I wasn't cooking at home, I'm telling you what I would do if I was cooking at home. If I was taking things somewhere, I make my little list of everything I said I would take so that I don't forget anything. I like this eyeshadow combo because the eyeshadow combos I've been doing, I don't think they work with my skin tone. But this one, at least on this camera view, it looks like it does. Anyways, I got all my ingredients, everything I need. And so either tonight or tomorrow morning, because I'll go to celebrate Thanksgiving about noon. I will start getting, I don't even know, I need to ask what can I help with. I usually just assume I'm taking desserts and maybe a few side dishes. I don't know. No. Anyway, whatever you decide to do, I hope you have a beautiful Thanksgiving. I know I always plan to watch Dallas Cowboys play. That's part of the tradition here. Okay, y'all. I hope you enjoyed. Tomorrow we will actually talk about, we'll talk about something else. All right? I hope you enjoyed. Hope you have a beautiful, blessed day. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. I hope to see you next time.